welcome to Boys and Girls Haven. We're so glad to have everyone here. What a beautiful picture of our community, the compassionate community that is Louisville, Kentucky. I work with Boys and Girls Haven. My name's Rebecca Farley. I work in our development department with fundraising and community engagement, so I get to meet a lot of really amazing people around Louisville. Here at Boys and Girls Haven, we serve tweens and teens in foster care, one of the most vulnerable populations in our state today, with the growing number of kids entering foster care. And we couldn't do what we do without community engagement and volunteers, specifically at this point in our history where our buildings are 70 years old. And when we were founded in 1948, we broke ground in 1950 here on campus. We were serving some of the most vulnerable kids who were coming out of traditional orphanages at that time and had nowhere else to go. They didn't have families to support them, and so we had a Catholic priest named Father Maloney here in Louisville who founded Boys and Girls Haven, and that's who we are today. We're still serving the same population. Again, we could not do this without community engagement and without the volunteers who are the heartbeat of our city. Some of these names you might recognize who have helped us over the last year. We've had well over 500 volunteers here on campus. We had over 200 volunteers just for Mayor's Give-A-Day last year, week of service. Again, some of these names you might recognize from our business community. We had Hogan Lovells, an international law firm who stepped up in big ways on our campus this past year. GE Appliances, we all love them. Humana, how many volunteers have we had from Humana around our community in the last few years? USI, Unified Technologies. We've had the service industry involved. We have a huge turnout from Texas Roadhouse this year in several capacities. We've had volunteers from Hilton Garden in Louisville who just send whatever they can to make stuff happen here on campus. They've supported us both with volunteers and financially in whatever way they can. Members of our faith community, dozens of churches who've stepped up. Here at Boys and Girls Haven, we have a huge turnout from the Muslim community. Every single mosque in Louisville has sent representatives to volunteer on our campus in the last year. We have been so blessed to have the outreach that we've had. Again, with our campus that's aging, it's a huge need for us, but every single nonprofit here in Louisville, I think I can speak for all of us when we say we could not be what we are without the support of our community. So we really appreciate everyone coming out today and jumping in for Mayor's Week of Service this year. I did also want to let you know, this year we have even more groups stepping up, including the U.S. Army coming from Fort Knox, sending a platoon to help us out here on campus. We really, every single corner of our community steps up to help take care of these kids. So with that being said, again, thank you for being here, and I'd like to bring up our esteemed mayor, Mr. Greg Fischer.
Thank you, Rebecca. Good job. She said before she got up here, she said, I can speak a little fast. Well, you got a lot to say. Good job. Well, I want to thank everybody here at Boys and Girls Haven. It's been one of the great facilities and service providers in our community for a long, long time. So we're really proud to kick it off here today. This place has been a place of hope and refuge for hundreds and hundreds of teenagers in our community and young adults, and transitioning them through the community has been a really wonderful thing here for our service. I want to thank the board of directors here that does a wonderful job. Tony Cruz is a board of director here. And is Tony still here? He's always got, right behind me, yeah, Well, good job. You're a good voice for the Boys and Girls Haven here on WHAS in the morning every time. Let's hear it for Tony Cruz here. I gotcha. He's the one that always asks me the tough questions, Tuesday morning, so I wanted to give you a little payback there. All right. So it's a perfect place. This is our 7th annual Give-A-Day Week of Service. So Brenda Frank, it's hard to believe that we've been doing this for 7 years. Last week, I spoke about this. I was in India last week on a trip sponsored by the Strong Cities Network, and they invited the city of Louisville because of our focus on compassion and our focus on volunteership, and they said they just didn't see that in many communities around the world. So they wanted me to talk about our city value of compassion and volunteership. We met with Indian leaders in business, government, education, the media, and then also had a fantastic meeting with His Holiness the Dalai Lama last Wednesday in his residence in Dharamshala. So I wanted to say a few things. One of them I want to talk to him about was how we bring compassion alive. And I said, we have our Give-A-Day Week of Service coming up. And he said, well, how many people participate in Give-A-Day? And I said, well, last year we had 180,000 people. And so if you know him, he let out this big belly laugh, and he just said, just keep it going in the city of compassion. Good job to Louisville there. So we have the blessings from the Dalai Lama for what we're doing here. So that's pretty good. But I think that trip, what it showed is that compassion is one great piece of our global brand that we have as a city. People think about our city in a lot of different things, but I can tell you it's really nice when you travel and people say, tell us what you're doing with the city value of compassion. And we talk about the respect we have for each and every one of our citizens and how we work to bring human potential alive. So I was really proud to represent everybody here on behalf of the city of Louisville. And we've evolved this whole week from a one-day event in 2011. When I was growing up, my mom would just always say, if you can help somebody, help somebody. Don't ask what's in it for you, just do it. So when I was elected mayor, I said, I want to honor my mom. And we said, let's have a day of service. And we had a one day of service about 30 days after I was inaugurated and dedicated that to my mom, Mary Lee Fischer. And then that grew into this entire event. And probably the truth is that for almost all of us, it was our moms, that taught us about compassion and taught us about taking care of each other. And, the moms are in charge. Let's hear it for our moms. I mean, come on. And if you're a mom, thank you. Yeah. So, we're growing with Give a Day. And one of the things I really noticed last week too, and was reminded of, it's important that we grow economically, but we've got to, if we're just growing economically and we're not growing spiritually, if we're just growing economically and we're not helping each other, then we're really not a very good place. And that's really what Give a Day represents, is that kind of balance between growing our economy, which we're doing. We've got like 70,000 new jobs, we've got construction taking place everywhere with $12 billion, and that's great, and there's going to be more of it. But if we don't balance that with taking care of each other, we're just not going to realize our potential as a city. So that's why events like this are so, so important. On the economic front, businesses are a big part of Give a Day. Rebecca talked about that moments ago with a lot of our businesses stepping up and more step up every year. UPS, GE, Ford, K&I Lumber, who's donated the materials for that beautiful new bunk bed over there. Bowles Mattress over there as well. Hogan Lovells, and Bill Ball is here. He showed up here a couple years ago for a Give a Day project and is now a very active member of the board of directors here. So it's beautiful the way that works. So there's so many of our businesses are here. We want to say thank you to them, and let's recruit more of our businesses to come and participate this week so that we can break our record. Every year I use the powers of proclamation as the mayor. I used to be a little hesitant to do that. Now I have a pretty good time with it. And because so I proclaim we're the most compassionate city on the face of the earth. And so we need to break our world record of 180,000 volunteers. That's what we had last year. Are you all ready to break that record again this year? Come on, let's make it happen. All right. Now these projects, this year we've got 6 of our organizations around here are going to help us break that record. There's Build a Bed with Ben Langley in the JCPS team. This year, Ben is adding bunk beds to the project. So let's hear it for bunk beds. Got a little safety rail on there like that. We Day with Wendy Sergio and her team. As part of We Day, we're having a compassion walk again this year. And I'm asking our business community to join our elementary, middle, and high school students who are committed to compassion. And what I'd like to ask all of our students to do is use your social media to get the businesses to come out and walk with us on Main Street downtown. What we have seen our youth leaders, our student leaders do in the aftermath of that horrible shooting in Parkland, Florida, is nothing short of phenomenal. So let's encourage our youth to use their social media to set a big record and a big show of compassion to get more adults out in our We Day March taking place during the week of service. Well, our goal is to hit our goal of 10,000 people walking for compassion on April 17th downtown. So talk to Wendy about making that happen. Thank you, Wendy, and the whole We Day team and all the We Day participants here. Great job. Walk for compassion. The Reverend Dr. Elizabeth Kirkpatrick is here. She's the pastor of Strathmore Presbyterian Church. Every year, Presbyterian volunteers are flooding our streets. Fun. To help every year during the Give a Day week. Where's the good Reverend Doctor here? Oh, keeping a low profile in the back there. Thank you so much for all your help. Okay. And the Kentucky Derby Festival. So originally when we created Give a Day, what we said is we'd like to see Give a Day as part of the Kentucky Derby Festival week because we race everything during that week, right? So we want Give a Day to be a race for compassion and to challenge other cities around the world to have their own Give a Day type of event so that we could be competing and racing with each other. And multiple other cities now have done this. So the Kentucky Derby Festival is a big part of the team. Give a Day is an official Derby Festival event. And if you have any questions about that, I encourage you to think about how many volunteer hours are logged during the festival. I want to thank Mike Berry, the KDF board, and everyone at KDF for their support for Give a Day, and we'll be hearing from Mike in a minute. And then I see the Kentucky Derby folks over here. They're to benefit Harbor House, waving to the crowd. Thank you. You guys do a great, great job. And speaking of that, our global game changers over here, Jan and the team, and our superpower heroes over here, good job to you guys. All right. And one new project this year involves the Foodie Flea Group. So David Levine, thank you so much. They'll have over 25 local food trucks at Thunder collecting toiletry items, which they plan to distribute along with food to homeless shelters on the first Sunday of Give a Day week. So this is a perfect example of how a great leader, David, and then our food trucks come together and said, we want to help somehow. We don't know quite how to do it. They brainstorm it, and here you guys are this week for the first time. So good job to you all. And we got several food trucks outside that are going to be giving away free food after this, so get a little lunch or a little yeah, that's right. Everybody likes food. Okay. So they're here to help. And then Metro government has numerous Give a Day projects as well, and the biggest, of course, is organized by our Brightside team. They're represented here today by their director, Gina O'Brien. Gina, thank you for your great work. Well done. They, of course, do a tremendous cleanup during the week, and there'll be somewhere between 12 and 18,000 volunteers just for Brightside alone. They'll be cleaning up the entire community with volunteers, and this year with a special focus on downtown as well. One of the things is the entire team at Metro government comes together. We've got some of our dedicated public servants here today. LMPD does a great job during Give a Day week. Louisville Fire does a great job as well. And then our Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods is back here with One Love Louisville, all doing a great job spreading compassion during the week. So thank you to all of my colleagues at city government. Good job. So when we kicked this thing off 7 years ago, we were saying, how can we organize this? Because you got a lot of people wanting to do things, a lot of projects out there, and there was one place that we naturally turned to, and that was Metro United Way. And compassion is nothing unusual to Metro United Way. They've been cultivating it in our community now for 100 years. That's incredible. And as always, they serve as our central coordination point. So if you want to volunteer but you don't know how to do it or what project, you can go to the Give a Day website and you'll see, you just click here and click there. All that's being organized by the Metro United Way. So here to share some good words with us is their outstanding president and CEO, Teresa Reno Weber. Teresa.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. And I have to say that at Metro United Way, we absolutely love the Mayor's Give a Day week of service and this whole season that we are about to kick off, because it highlights for our community something that Metro United Way does all year long, 365 days a year. And that is focus on uniting the people and resources needing to solve our community's challenges. And we work with thousands of volunteers every single day, every single year, to make sure that we are making daily differences that touch the lives of our neighbors, our families, our coworkers. Daily differences like putting books in the hands of young kids, putting beds in homes where children don't have them, putting meals on the tables where families are most often food insecure. Those things make transformational differences in the lives of those individuals that they touch. But we also focus on transformational acts that go much broader by putting individuals in communities to help build and strengthen the neighborhoods that we have around us, by working to put advocates in the offices of elected officials so that they know what is going to matter most in moving the needle for our communities, again, for our families, for our neighbors, for our loved ones. And we love doing that work, and we love nothing more than inviting more people to be a part of that work with us. And so the Mayor's Give-A-Day Week of Service is a natural fit for us to be that strong community backbone, to be able to unite individuals with the opportunities that exist in our community, the needs that our nonprofits have, the needs that individuals in our community have, so that we are able to make more people a part of the solutions that we know make a difference here in the place that we live, that we work, and that we want our families to thrive in. I have to say that this year, and I don't know if the mayor mentioned it, but there is a Mayor's Give-A-Day board that has been established, I think for maybe the first time officially in our community. And this is a board of volunteers who has stood up to say, we don't want the Mayor's Give-A-Day Week of Service to just be a week. We want it to be something that we focus on in this community all year long. And Metro United Way is so proud to be a part of that board and so proud to work with them and with anyone in this community who wants to get involved in being a part of the solution to the things that we get frustrated by, that we know affect the lives of individuals across our community. And the mayor mentioned our service and that we get that from our mothers. It's true. We also get that from our fathers. And I will say that my father served in the U.S. Army. And we have a volunteer who is here from Fort Knox, who is a board member at Metro United Way, and who is about to retire after 31 years of service. So I just want to give a round of applause and a shout out to Colonel Reese Turner for his service to our country. I know that he is going to continue to serve our community and our country, and we're just so proud to stand beside him as he does that. So if you want to get involved, go to mygiveaday.com, go to the website, look for opportunities across our community where you can fill a need, a gap, be a part of the solution, or document the work that you're already doing or plan to do to give back as a part of the Mayor's Give-A-Day Week of Service. As the mayor said, we want to continue to break our record year in and year out. We want to continue to be a global role model for this world and what it means to lead not only with our hands and our head, but also with our heart. And we're just so glad to be a part of that work with all of you here in the community. Thank you.
Now, one of the reasons we get our really big numbers with Give-A-Day Week is because of tremendous participation from our schools. Jefferson County Public Schools, our private schools, our Catholic schools, and it is just really uplifting to see our youngest leaders out in the public, serving, lifting other people up, and just showing that truly compassion is natural of who we are. We're born with good hearts. So let's hear more about that from JCPS's Chief Equity Officer, John Marshall. John?
Thank you, Mayor Fischer. Jefferson County Public Schools is excited to partner in Mayor Fischer's annual Give-A-Day Service Initiative. Last year, I'm proud to report that once again, JCPS led the way in the Mayor's Give-A-Day program. We had 100% participation in our schools, and our students donated an equivalent of 1,145 days of service. That's more than 2 years of service projects that Jefferson County Public Schools did in just one day. We are proud of what our students and staff were able to accomplish and the difference we made in our community. It was a perfect way for us to give back to a community that has been so supportive of the public school system. Mayor, I would like to share with you a few examples of how our students gave back to Give-A-Day last year. We planted community gardens. We raised money to fight pediatric cancer, built beds for children in the community, provided supplies for women in domestic violence shelters, and donated books to homeless students. I am proud of our students every day. I am proud of what they accomplished in the classroom. I am proud of how they represent the school district and this community. At JCPS, we believe that one of the keys to boosting student achievement is creating a culture of environment where all students are successful. So, on behalf of Superintendent Dr. Polio and more than 100,000 students and 155 schools. Thank you, Mayor Fischer, for allowing JCPS to be a part of this community initiative. I am confident that our schools and students will once again lead the way in contributing to what I believe is one of the best things Louisville does. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and the whole team. Now, let's hear from another one of our outstanding partners. I talked earlier about the Kentucky Derby Festival and how we're such an integral part of that. And so now Mike Berry, who has a great service heart, is going to speak to us about the Kentucky Derby Festival. How many days we got to the Derby right now?
54 to Thunder.
54 to Thunder. Okay.
That's right. Thank you, Mayor. The Kentucky Derby Festival is once again very honored and privileged to be a part of Mayor's Give a Day and our week of service. We've been there from the very beginning when we went from a day to a week. It seems like the Derby Festival used to be a day and is now a month, so we've still got growing to do. The mayor talked about what he learned from his mom, and it made me think about the scripture that was always impressed upon me by my parents and grandparents, that to whom much is given, much is required. And the Derby Festival really kind of believes that just an incredible amount, because our volunteers are what make the Kentucky Derby Festival possible. In fact, if all of our volunteers were employees, the Kentucky Derby Festival would be one of the top 15 employers in our community. And we kind of feel like that sometimes those volunteers need to be paid, but fortunately they don't ask for that. Whether they are selling golf balls for our hole-in-one, or whether they're helping to corral units for the Pegasus Parade, or they're trying to clean up after Thunder over Louisville, volunteers are very important. Last year we had over 8,300 hours of service. Our goal this year is to have over 8,500. If you have seen the Thunder over Louisville site in the last 48 hours, you know we're going to probably not have a bit of problem getting that 8,500 hours, because we're going to have to clean the site up before we actually make a mess and have to clean it up after Thunder. Again, we think it's good for business. Volunteerism is good for business. And in fact, we're very honored that many of the corporations and the partners that are associated with the Mayor's Week of Service are also corporate partners of the Derby Festival. And one thing to add this year, we are welcoming a new sponsor to our volunteer program. We've never had a sponsor of our volunteer program before. And the outlet shops of the Bluegrass have come in and said, you know, volunteers are important and it's good business. And so we get that compassion and the economic development as well. So if you're looking for a way, in addition to going to the Metro United Way site, of getting involved in Derby Festival from a volunteer standpoint, you can also go to kdf.org and be a part of the greatest show on earth. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mike. Great job. Now, before we finish up, I just want to elaborate a little bit on what Teresa spoke about. When we created Give a Day, we knew we wanted to make it a permanent part of the culture of a city. And that means that the running of Give a Day needed to eventually be independent of government. So today, I'm proud to announce the creation of the inaugural Give a Day Board of Directors, who will guide and sustain the great service work and the great compassion work that our community has done over the last 7 years. So they'll continue to work with us at Metro government, but I think Give a Day should be lasting forever, regardless of who the mayor is. So this is a first step to make sure that happens. Our board is made up of terrific leaders from all across our city. I'm happy to announce that Mary Pat Regan is going to be our inaugural chair for the Give a Day board. Thank you very much, Mary Pat. Good job. And then will all the other board members that have stepped up to help us, would you all raise your hands too? I see some of y'all here. Thank you all so much, including our youth board. So we have youth and wiser people, or I don't know, not more mature folks as well. So it takes all of us. So thank you all very, very much for stepping up. This is a great way to expand Give a Day. All right? And then one more thing. Some of our student leaders from Mazik are here, and they're announcing a neat new project that we have underway. If you all would come up, please. Let's give them another with some of our superpowers. All right, global game changers.
We are with Goldberg Game Changers, and they are sponsoring a project for Give-A-Day, which is called the OGO Jar, which stands for Oh Great One, Jackpot of Acknowledgement and Recognition. They are serving 8,600 classrooms, 130,000 students.
This project will be implemented in classrooms across Jefferson County, in which students will fill one of these OGO jars with positive messages to members of their staff that have provided a positive influence on their school.
We would like to present the mayor, Fischer, with an OGO jar himself, because he is a great one. Thank you.
I'd also like to read my slip. All right. I admire you because you are always such a strong and positive force in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate all the good work you do. Okay. Well, that is very nice. Let's see, I'm having trouble opening this thing here. Let's see. Brenda, would you help me here? I don't know if y'all know Brenda Frank. She works with me here. And you can do anything. Brenda is the godmother of Give-A-Day. Yeah, can you do that? Oh, was that how you? Okay, well, this actually is for you, Brenda, because you're the godmother of Give-A-Day. This is Brenda's last Give-A-Day because she's retiring from Metro government. So this is actually for you, along with these flowers, to represent. You are an amazing, amazing person. So,
All right, you're making it tough.
let's hear a few words from Brenda.
Yeah. I have already said goodbye to so many people, and this was not expected. And anyway, I'm really not saying goodbye because I'm going to be coming back to see everybody, because I've got to make sure that this Give-A-Day continues as we've started it. So, board, you have a great job ahead of you, but Mayor Fischer at the helm will make sure it happens. So I just can't thank everybody in this room enough, because I've worked with each and every one of you, and you have made it what it is. But this certainly I don't feel like I deserve, but I'm going to enjoy it. When I get lonesome, I'm going to dig out a strip out of the jar. Thank you all so much. Love you.
All right, Brenda Frank, godmother of Give-A-Day. All right, well, I want to thank everybody for coming out and being such a big part of this. Obviously, now we just kind of power this on up, set another world record, and look at all the smiles everybody has. That's what happens when you help everybody. So thanks, everybody, for coming out today. All right, let's have a great Give-A-Day.